What we see right here is a ballistic missile. This is just the fuel tank of a ballistic missile that was fired towards Israel on October 1st. This ballistic missile has a warhead the size of a ton. I'm talking about a ton of explosives pointed towards Israeli civilian. This type of missile, if it hits a residential building, can kill hundreds of civilians. Iran, a week ago, fired not one of these, 180 of these and more towards Israeli civilians, sending around 10 million people to the bomb shelters for about an hour. Iran sent an unprecedented attack in a world scale of ballistic missiles towards Israel, sending most of Israel to the bomb shelters. This is an unacceptable act that no sovereign country in the world would accept. Not even one of these ballistic missiles, let alone 180. And we will act against this aggression when and where we decide.
Do you consider this war a success? Are you close to winning it, maybe?
We have been fighting this war for a year now, multi-front war against Iran and its proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, other proxies in Syria and Iraq, and terror organizations in Judea and Samaria, and even Iran directly. And we've been able to push them away. We've been able to fight them. We've been able to defend ourselves successfully, as this attack was mostly intercepted and defended. And we are ready, we are resilient to fight this war, because we have to fight this war and defend our borders and defend our people.
About Lebanon, in what stage this operation is? Beginning, middle, or end?
We are currently operating in Lebanon. We've been defending the Israeli civilians for a year from Hezbollah's attack. Hezbollah started an unprovoked war exactly a year ago, yesterday, and we have been defending Israelis for a year. And we've also been carrying out attacks to remove those threats for Israeli civilians, to eliminate those senior terrorists who want to carry out terror attacks, an October 7th style attack from the north, and to bring those munitions down. Currently, we are focusing on limited, localized, targeted raids in southern Lebanon to remove those anti-tank missiles, cornets, RPGs, those advanced precision-guided missiles pointed towards Israeli civilians, making sure our civilians can come back home to their houses in northern Israel, and we hope to do that as soon as possible.
Last question. You were talking about the difference between Hamas and Hezbollah. Can you make clear what is the difference?
Hezbollah is one of the world's largest terror organizations. It is basically a terror army larger than most armies in the world. Hamas is also a very large terror army, but Hezbollah is one of the largest in the world, funded, backed, and armed by Iran for the last few decades. They pose a real threat for the stability of the region, and they had an arsenal in the beginning of the war of over 150,000 rockets, missiles, and UAVs that were mostly pointed towards Israel. We are fighting to take away their abilities, to push them away from our borders, and to make sure our civilians can come back home.
אם אתה יכול רק להסתובב איפשהו באזור שם יותר רחוק ממני, אני אשתמש בזה בתור בירו. בבקשה, בבקשה. Okay, I'm okay. Right. We'll come back and do another round in 15 minutes. There will be another 20 minutes. Okay.
הולכים לעשות תדרוך קצר על הטיל. מסביר על הטיל. עכשיו זה גם
שנייה. סליחה.
אתה דוד, זה והרוסי עם הסיגריה.
איפה?
באתר משוגע.
Just tell me when can I start. Yeah? All right. What we see in front of us, those are just the fuel tanks of the Iranian missiles that were pointed to Israel on the two Iranian attacks. Here you can see the Imad fuel tank. The length is around, the full length is around 18 meters. This is just one cell of the fuel tank. The full fuel tank is 3 cells like this, and it has more than 12,000 kilograms of liquid fuel, just the fuel. And the rest of it, the warhead, is around half a ton of explosive. This is the Haibar Shakan. The diameter is 1.25 meters of the fuel tank. Again, this is the full fuel tank. This is a propellant based, and the rest is the warhead, approximately 1 ton of explosive. Those were pointed to Israeli bases and some civil places. We found this one near Arad, a city in the south of Israel. We found some warheads that didn't explode in Beersheba, in Herzliya. Some of them were just located in civil population area. 1 ton of explosive that exploded in a street can demolish few buildings and can make a massive casualty. Yeah.
Can you say once again the name of this missile?
This is the Haibar Shakan. Haibar, it's a city, very old city that were in the middle of a dilemma between the Jewish and the Arabs, like 2,000 years ago. So this is the Haibar Shakan. This is the name.
There was a big Jewish pogrom in Haibar.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason they named the missile.
Yeah.
They're both from October 1st?
No, this one is from October 1st. It came here just a few days ago. This one is from April 14th, from the first Iranian attack.
אתה יכול יותר לעמוד פה? מצוין. So how dangerous is it and how come nobody died from it?
Well, we have good aerial protection system. We have good aero system and SA missiles. And of course, the population were very get into safety places and make sure nobody is in the street.
Is this new technology or is it like really old-fashioned kind of thing?
You can say that this one, the Imad, is an older version of this one. This is much advanced. This is from the last decade, you can say.
This is full of fuel, the whole body?
Yeah, this is just a fuel tank.
So how come it did not catch fire if it's all full of fuel?
It burns on air and it brings all the missile, the warhead, to the target, and it's supposed to break down from it. These were with an interceptor, the Arrow 3. It was exploded on air and just fell down.
What's the weight?
Including the warhead is somewhere around 18 tons. 18 tons.
Do you see any difference in terms of the missiles used in the first Iranian attack and the second? And what can you learn about?
Well, on the first Iranian attack, they used those old versions with liquid fuel, and on the second, they used more solid propellant and solid fuel. Those were the main differences. Of course, the systems were much advanced, and the amount was different. They didn't use UAVs. They didn't use cruise missiles as well as the first time. They focused on the ballistics missiles.
Was it produced in Iran?
Yeah, of course.
How much does it cost, and how much cost to intercept it?
Well, I don't know the cost of making that one, and I don't think that I can say the cost of an Arrow 3 system.
And these UAVs?
Those UAVs are mostly from Gaza. This is the V-tail, the Shihab, mostly from Gaza.
Gaza?
Yeah.
Where did you find this one?
This one near Arad. It's a city in the south of Israel.
Was close to a civilian area, or?
Yeah, it was less than a kilometer from Arad. Arad is the population in there are something around 30,000 people, just 1 kilometer from there.
How accurate this thing is?
It's supposed to be very accurate, and it's supposed to hit a target in the few hundred meters from the distance of 1,500 kilometers from Iran to here. And as I said before, we found it in Herzliya in a street.
And in airport, also in airport.
In airport, in Be'er Sheva, in a street.
Airbase.
So, not just in the airbase. We found a UXO that were found underground that didn't explode in Be'er Sheva, in the city, inside.
That's from this one. From this one.
From something like that. Not this one. This one we found near Arad.
Right.
We found something similar in Be'er Sheva.
You found an unexploded warhead
Yeah.
in the street in Beersheba.
Yeah. It was taken down by police bomb squad just a few days ago.
What would have happened if that had exploded?
As I said before, a massive casualty. Hundreds of dead people.
How many missiles of this type did you count on October?
Something on October 1st, it was a little bit less than 180 from basically two kinds, the Khaybar Shakan and some Raids, but mostly Khaybar Shakan.
And in April, around 120 those missiles, and of course, additionally, there were a lot of UAVs, cruise missiles, and